Good afternoon, Don's community. This is your principal, Travis Bell, and this is our Don's Connection for the week of April 24th. This Don's Connection is going to look a little bit about the decision to make all semester reflect credit or no credit. We talked about that more in depth in our Don's Dialogue webinar that we did last Friday, but I've still had some questions coming in from both parents and students alike, and I wanted to highlight that for you briefly in our Don's Connection. Before we move forward, I did want to share with you the Quarant-Meme of the week. This one is one that my wife posted earlier this week, saying that she was just doing some online shopping. The Trikini, the 2020 collection. We'll have to see if this is a fashion trend that holds, or if this is only for the summer of 2020. But I thought this was funny. Okay, as I said, we want to talk a little bit about the decision to go credit or no credit. So last week, AUHSD Governing Board did make the decision to move all semester grades to credit, no credit. As I said, we took a more in-depth look at this at our Don's Dialogue webinar, and there was an opportunity for questions and answers as well. But I wanted to share a little bit with you here in case you didn't want to have to shift through that whole hour and 20-minute long webinar, just to highlight a few things for you. Really, what this means for our students is that no letter grades will be reflected for the spring semester of 2020. That also includes any remediation or summer school grades for classes that were taken during this spring semester. Students need credit to graduate for required classes, and so they will need that credit. It just won't be reflected as a letter grade, and this is going to be reflected on our school profile. So when it's being looked at by colleges or universities, they will see, based off of our school profile, that we made the decision to go credit, no credit. Our college and career advisor has put out some great information on this as well, that colleges and universities are always comparing when they're reading applications and looking at our students' transcripts. They're always looking at a school's profile to help make decisions for that student's admittance. This is the same would be true for, there are students who are coming from schools that don't offer AP programs, and so that would be reflected on their school profile. But when we look at a credit or no credit, that does mean that there is no GPA adjustment based off of credit or no credit, because GPAs are based off of the number that corresponds with that letter grade. And since there's no letter grade, there's going to be no affecting the GPA one way or the other. So when we talk about credit or no credit, what the next logical question would be, how does a student get credit for a class? And we've shared this as well in other Don connections, but I wanted to highlight and re-emphasize some points here for you today. Students earn credit based off of engagement and effort, not mastery in a specific content area. And we've had to define those. I think of what Brene Brown said, where she talks about how clarity is kindness. We're really doing everything we can to try to be as clear as possible to our students and to our parents what it means to get credit and what engagement and effort looks like. We've defined engagement as students interacting with the teacher and the curriculum. This could look like a myriad of things, from turning in assigned work to attending office hours, watching screencasts, joining synchronous classes. These are different types of engagement, and we know that not everyone is going to be able to do everything, and we've really communicated that to our teachers as well, that students don't need to do all these things to show engagement. Students earn credit for effort by showing attempts to learn the essential standards that have been defined by that teacher and that collaborative team and department on those essential standards for that specific subject area. This could include turning in assignments, making corrections after formative assessment feedback, or participating in synchronous class discussions, as well as lots of other things. We've been emphasizing that effort doesn't need to be mastery. We know that some students may struggle to meet mastery with distance learning because they need additional supports or they really value that in-class engagement, because we also know that nothing is going to compare to that in-person teaching that we're accustomed to having. However, we're doing everything we can to continue to engage our students and trying to hold them to those essential standards. So as we look at effort and engagement, that's what we're asking of our students in order to get credit in a class. If a student is not showing effort and engagement, that teacher should be reaching out and notifying that student and the parent that they're not seeing the necessary effort and engagement to get credit in that class. And then a conversation can happen around what that looks like. So I know this was just kind of like a quick flyby of the credit, no credit decision, as well as what effort and engagement look like. If you have specific questions, I would love to hear from you. Please reach out because we do want to try to bring as much clarity as possible. I'll be highlighting next week. We are sending progress reports home. Progress reports will be due May 6th, and that will show a student and a parent if they're on track to receive credit or not for a specific class. But you should be hearing from a teacher beforehand regardless. That's all we have for you today. I know it was quick. In looking at my YouTube analytics, people are sticking on for about 4 or 5 minutes. So I didn't want to go in too much detail. But again, reach out if you have questions. And as always, continue to show up for one another during this time in whatever way that looks like, while still adhering to the shelter in place. Have a wonderful weekend and go Dons.